Thanks for making the time.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
You know what? Pretty good. I'm joined by my partners in crime. There's Patrick Morris in the bottom corner there, and then to your right is none other than DJ Sessions, Jason Henry of iLive NFT. Say,
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Good evening, good evening. Hold on one second. Let me turn on Patrick's microphone.
Hey, if you want, Vector, you could push me down to the crowd and then bring me back up, and they'll be right lined up alongside you if you want to do that.
just give me a moment.
Yeah. Voila.
Thanks for that. Welcome, Q.
Yeah, hello. How are you doing?
Peace, Q. What's good, brother?
I'm good. Chris, nice to see you.
It's good to see you, man. When you send the call out, man, that means it's something worth showing up for. So I'm happy to be here to support, hear what's going on.
Thank you so much.
How are you?
I'm good. What you been up to with your music and everything?
I'm kind of keeping it low key, but Dario and I are working on a Bored Ape thing. So, yeah, the anthem, it's coming. And then about a half dozen other projects plus.
Okay, cool.
It seems like, and I think that's the spirit of this space, that music NFTs are really picking up. You know, people are really seeing it as a viable way of supporting artists and collecting, and I'm excited. So just trying to pick up the pace and deliver on, I've got about a dozen plus projects plus a whole bunch more. So I just want to start dropping them,
What makes you say that you think that music NFTs are picking up?
I just feel like friends in the space, I'll just throw out some real practical examples, Richard Wagner. He's a violinist. He's part of the whole Bored Ape community. And he's a really talented artist. He used to play a lot with a young indigenous artist named Shateska Martinez. He dropped a label called Metaverse Records, and he sold I don't know what the count is now. Last I checked was 300 NFTs of a 10-song record. And I don't know, just other artists I've seen in the space are just selling more NFTs. Pat Dimitri and just different cats. I just feel like it's being more embraced and accepted by the community overall in general.
Cool.
Okay.
What do you think, Hugh?
What do I think? I mean, who am I? I don't know. I'm just a collector. I'm just watching it and seeing. Of course, I'd love that.
Well, hello. Now I think would be a good time for us to officially welcome everybody to the Omar NFT conclusion clubhouse. And thank you for coming, and thank you for making time. I thought maybe this would also be a good time for us to introduce some people here up on the stage, starting right next to me with DJ Sessions of iLive NFT, otherwise known as Jason Henry.
Who's that?
Good evening, everybody. How you doing?
Jason Henry, right next to me, iLive NFT. Jason, are you?
I'm there. Did you add me as a speaker?
I didn't understand the context of that, but anyway.
Just wanted to introduce my partners. Next to him is Patrick Morris. Am I coming in okay?
Adam needs to add me as a speaker.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me, Adam?
Well, as you know, we're here to do somewhat of a post-mortem of this particular project,
You said
and
add us as
Q
speakers.
is
Kim is the
actually
host.
the buyer of this particular NFT, and he was also very generous to
Go on your,
put
on
some
your,
time
on your,
aside
on your
to put a
just
bow
let
on
them
this
know that you
particular
have to add us
story
as iLive
and
NFT as a speaker.
share some of the knowledge that we attained from this
As a speaker.
6-month journey. And that's what it's come to. It's literally half a year where Jason, myself, and Omar, who will be joining us shortly, combined forces to create a one-of-a-kind music/art NFT.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, Adam.
Whoa.
Are you in some sort of cavern, Patrick?
Sorry, Adam. You've got to add iLive NFT as a speaker. Then you'll be able to hear Jason and I through the studio.
Jason, are you there?
We're here now. Can you hear us? Hello?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Hello? Can you hear us? Hello? Hello, 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 hello?
The app.
No, it's not the app. The app's fine. The app is fine. App is fine, hold on.
Sorry, Jay, I'm not hearing anything here. I have you as a moderator and I have you on stage. Is there something that I'm supposed to do to allow you to?
Hello, hello, hello. It's right there.
He needs to unmic. I don't know what's going on, but he just needs to open up his mic to talk. I don't know if he's been on here a lot.
Okay. Well, hopefully he'll join us shortly. But there's full access for you, Jay, if you're listening here. Patrick, would you like to chime in and represent iLive NFT here for a moment? Your mic seems to be working.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm in the studio. My cell phone seems to be okay, but the mic for some reason is not working in the studio.
And I'm getting an echo on you as well, man. Apologies for a bit of the delayed. Patrick, I think you're going to have to turn your mic off. Thanks. Apology for the late start on this. Some technical issues there. I'm sure we'll sort it out very soon. But I also wanted to mention that in conjunction with this
1, 2, 3, 4.
Clubhouse, I'm going to be doing some live tweeting that'll help to provide visuals and videos along the way to help kind of shape this story. I put together a few things here to help bring everybody up to speed. So if you go on to my Vector Vault Twitter page, I'm going to start putting some tweets as we kind of move through this conversation. Now, I'm actually just going to jump right in until Jay on mics. And if anybody would like to contribute, please raise your hand there or flash your mic, and we'll certainly have you heard. Thank you, Candace, for joining us, Black Dave. And just to sort of like briefly reset this room here, we're here to talk about the Omar Legacy Collection, the premier NFT conclusion party. And this has been half a year of collaboration and friendship and has resulted in something that we're all very proud of. It started with a telephone call between Jay and myself many months ago, where we were just beginning to discover the world of NFT and how that fit with art and music, which were our two main areas of interest. And we both landed on the decision to approach Omar. And for those of you who do not know Omar yet, he's a tremendous performer from the UK. And maybe I could pass the mic very briefly to Q to say maybe a word or two about Omar, the music artist.
Oh wow. Wow. I mean, in the UK, um, Omar's seen as a legend, but even more than that, Erica Badu sees him as an influence. Maxwell, the singer, sees him as an influence. Stevie Wonder sees him as an influence. He was the one that allegedly kind of put together the vibe for the whole neo soul movement. I think the reason why people in the States and elsewhere most probably don't know him as well is because he hasn't traveled, um, or toured in the States. But all
Now that's just a taste. He has an incredible voice, and as Q has also pointed out, he's a very accomplished musician and classically trained at that. Omar is a bit of a legend in the world of music, from soulful superstars to hip hop heavyweights. They all seem to have an affection for this particular artist. He has traveled the world, but as Q has also mentioned as well, it's the life of an artist who's constantly trying to build new fan bases. And that's what's so exciting about this particular project, because in addition to creating an NFT, it was very important to my partners like Jay from iLive NFT that we create an educational component. And in essence, we built a website that was all about celebrating the music of Omar and educating people not only about him, but how to get involved with NFTs and how to ultimately purchase and invest. And so this project had a very big scale and scope, but it was also grounded in respect and just a wonderful working environment. We didn't have to argue through herds of lawyers. We did a lot of communication directly with Omar and his manager. Jay facilitated a lot of that. And we also had a lot of creative freedom to produce the right fit for this particular project. And I'm actually really proud of it, because we were looking at this in a way that, from the perspective of a fan, what would the ultimate fan want from Omar? And it was just a tremendous brainstorming session that led us down a really specific path.
Hey, Adam, can you hear us now?
I definitely can. Welcome.
There you go. Yeah,
Good to hear your voice.
We had to change some settings. We're good.
Good to be on
We're
the air.
back on track. We're back on track. Well, I was trying to hold down the fort here and tell half a story. But ladies and gentlemen, this is Jay Henry, aka DJ Sessions of iLive NFT. And he's the third component to this particular puzzle. We were just talking about the music of Omar, and then we talked about the origins of this NFT project. Maybe you'd like to interject with a little bit of perspective in terms of where this project came from and what the vision was.
Sure. So as an organization, and as a media organization, we've been around for about 6 years. We're actually, as a core, we are actually a radio station stroke broadcast, station or environment. We started to expand into doing concerts and shows, and one of the first artists we brought to Toronto was Omar, who hadn't been here for like 10 years. So that's how our relationship with Omar started. And everything we've done in terms of any promotions or any events or any festivals, we've always done collaborative exercises or projects with both Adam Jarvis and with Omar as well. He's figured very heavily in our music schedule. He's figured very heavily in our live performance schedule, and so we've kind of got to a point where we were getting into the NFT space, and we've kind of talked about this on the 24-hour Clubhouse as to how we got where we got to with this project. And once again, just to echo what you said, Adam, this was for myself and for our organization, this is a fork to the many other things that we do, and a very valuable one. I think it was a extremely beneficial experience, not just from going through the process of doing the NFT and understanding what it does, but also educating people outside the NFT space in terms of what NFTs are. We work with a lot of independent artists, and a lot of those independent artists are trying to find other revenue streams. So what we've done outside of the Clubhouse environment, and outside of the lives we did inside the Clubhouse, on our own radio station programming, we had shows, specialized shows talking about NFTs and artists and how they can get involved on platforms, etc., just to help orientate them. And we're using our project to help orientate newer artists to try and get inside the space. So that educational component goes outside of just what we did with the Omar NFT to wider, broader base of what we do as an organization, and we'll continue to strive to do.
Yeah, that sums it up. And, you can see that there were good intentions from all angles coming into this project. And we also knew that we wanted to go beyond just a piece of art. And so to let people in on this, the core of this NFT is actually an ultra rare recording from 1994. And again, this is in your neck of the woods, Jay. This is music. This is from an album that I love called For Pleasure. And there was a 1-minute teaser at the beginning of that album. But little did we know that there was actually a full version of this stored away on Omar's vaults. And so with a little convincing, maybe you could shed some light, Jay, in terms of how that song came to be the core of this project.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about this particular project, as we continued our evolution and learning about the space, was really trying to find that sweet spot in terms of what we could offer. We had the art part locked down. I mean, Adam is a, genius.
Fantastic artist.
Yeah, fantastic artist and a genius when it comes to physical art. But we wanted to add something a little bit extra, and it was out of actually a conversation that we had with Omar and his manager. We kind of like floated the idea of, is there something that he has hidden in the vault that we could use as part of this NFT release? And, they let us know that there's this piece of music that was part of an album as an introduction to an album, 1-minute snippet, that he created a full song from that he planned to put on an album at some point but never did. So it's been sitting on his hard drive for a while. So we said, okay, I think that's the piece that we can really, really add to this to make it a little bit more unique. And obviously, from our perspective, we were very excited about the idea of being able to get hold of this song, for one, and offering as part of the release for two. And, looking for it to add some value to it as well, in terms of the scope and capacity of what we're actually offering. I think it's really important as well, Adam, to kind of talk a little bit about the in real life experiences that happened alongside this journey, as I see as part of the release. When we started to plan this thing out, we were really looking at opportunities where we could help brand and market the Omar NFT outside of the Clubhouse or the NFT space. And we took advantage of his shows and concerts. Those got changed a little bit because there was a lockdown in England, and some things got cancelled and some things got moved. But we had a number of initiatives in terms of sending gifts to artists and recognized artists. Q-Tip got one, Jazzy B from Soul to Soul got one, Paul Weller from the Style Council got one. There's a number of artists that got gifts from Omar as part of his release, as well as audience members on one of his shows got Omar NFT t-shirts. So we really tried to add a bunch of arms and legs to this whole thing, concluding with organizing the handover of the NFT to Q at an Omar show. And I think that was a fitting conclusion to our 6-month journey.
And that's that's a nice way to summarize it. But I'm actually going to get in a time machine and go back a little bit further to 2016, because as you mentioned, Jay and I have been friends for a little while, and I've been working with iLive Radio on some really exciting projects, starting with Omar's first concert in Toronto in over 10 years. Was thrilled to work on it, got a chance to meet Omar, and that was a big deal. But also I got a chance to work on an art show inspired by the music of Omar. And that's the real seed from this, because a piece of three-dimensional art was created and Omar loved it and really got behind it and got a lot of attention around it and showed a lot of interest in the artistic side of it. And all of these years later, that specific piece has found a purpose once again on the blockchain. Now, I just want to take a break here to refresh the room once again to let everybody know that we're talking about the Omar NFT. It's a summary of 6 months of hard work, concluding with the sale of the NFT 2Q. And welcome. I see some friendly faces in here. Hello, Art Jedi, Swinson, hello. I see Mika, Stefan, Quasar, Kayla, Chris.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Aloha, aloha.
Where I draw.
Here. I'm in New York.
Fantastic. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for making time for this today and to listen to our story. We really appreciate you. And so, hello to you. And so, just getting back to this story, the art turned into an opportunity. And so we took that art and crafted a digital frame, a digital animated frame with infinite objects. And it was done in a bamboo finish, and took the flat three-dimensional version of the original art from 2016 and brought new life into it. From there, almost like a Russian doll, we started to create all of these layers around it, starting with a beautiful hard case with a custom foam insert, all touched with beautiful gold foil accents wherever we could find it appropriate. And then that case went into another container, a beautiful box with earth magnets, 6 of them, which creates this really strong closure, very secure, and also stores really handsomely on a bookshelf or next to a record collection or CDs. So we were trying to come up with something that was almost like the modern example of what it was like to go down to a record store, buy an album, be the very first human being to open it, and to enjoy its contents. And I'm sure Jay, being a lifelong DJ, will attest that that is a very special feeling.
Yes, it is, Adam. I agree.
And I know Swinson is also going to back me up on that one too, yes?
Oh, yeah. You already know, man.
Good. And so, Jay also talked about how we expanded outside. And I mean, I didn't want to spend too much time talking about the NFT, but it's robust. It has a lot of interesting touches, including lenticulars. And for those of you who don't know what a lenticular is, it's a printed animation of it's a printed version of an animation. So when you tilt it in the sunlight, it has a little bit of movement with the smoke. Hey, Jay, I think I got feedback from you there, man.
Is it me? I don't know if it's me.
It's okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that. And we used there's a certain elite set that we have dedicated to the NFT itself. But we also have certain versions that we used for some gifts, and a few people got some, including our friend Art Jedi.
Is there someone?
You have a troll. It's Ashika at the bottom. Needs to be taken off the stage.
Sorry, who is that?
She's gone.
It's done.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm trying to sort of like talk and tweet and
Yeah, of course.
It's challenging. So I appreciate you having my back there. Thank you. And so, as Jay was talking about, we wanted to also surround this with some beautiful gifts. A big part of this project was inclusion. We priced our NFT very low. at 1 ETH because we wanted to generate some attention from some of the smaller fish, so to speak, and give them an opportunity to place a bid and maybe not take it to the finish line, but lock themselves in music history as somebody who participated. That turned out to be a very challenging exercise for us, but one that we accepted and tried our very best at. We have some learnings that we're still sifting through and collecting to adapt for the next one. But in addition to that, we also minted a beta version, an entirely different piece of art with Omar's likeness. And we use that as a gifting component to introduce people to the world of NFT. And so it was, are you interested in this? Yes. Follow these instructions on the Omar website to open a wallet, and we'll gift you something. And the flip side to that was physical components, sending those lenticulars and beautiful foil-mounted balsa wood frames all over the world. And so I'm very happy to report that they arrived at their destinations, and some really special people have them. And as I mentioned, our good friend Art Jedi right there in the center was just one of those persons that received one of those love letters.
I was so pleased and really humbled. It's very beautiful, very beautiful. Thank you. I'm driving. I just stopped here literally for 2 minutes to listen in and show my support.
Hey, Adam, if I can jump in there for a second.
Sure, and you're awesome, Art Jedi. Thank you so much for being part of this entire journey, because we've been listening to you, and in our own way, in your own way, you've been involved in this project, very much so. So thank you.
I love that. Thank you.
It's been an interesting journey for us here at iLive Music. When we looked at this, we know that Adam is a phenomenal artist. We know that Omar is a phenomenal artist. And then when we stood in the middle of this and started looking at what does success look like for us? And we respect the NFT space, and we respect Clubhouse. And, you know, a big thing for us was not to come in and try to gouge anybody in regards to anything. Our purpose really was to bring, as a little bit of what Jason talked about earlier, was to work with a lot of independent artists, show them that this is possible, show them a slightly different way that they could market their products. They can get it to market in a very different way than it is out there already. Adams was already playing in the NFT space, and we thought it was an amazing marriage. We use Omar as an amazing opportunity to be able to knit this all together. And you know, the different components that came together to make this possible. At the end of it, we looked at it and we were like, you know what? This is an amazing proof of concept for us. Our ability to be able to look at this and say, you know, we spent the last 6 months figuring out all the various different things that we needed to figure out, the legalities of this, like all the different nuts and bolts that went into this, and be able to come back and say, okay, you know, what did we learn throughout this process? How do we make this better going forward? How do we respect our audience, respect the people that we're working with, both in the NFT space as well as the independent artists that we work with? How do we respect the artists like Adam Jarvis? You know, and then we stay true to the brand, the iLive brand, of working collaboratively with various different people and be able to do something a little bit different. We've always tried to be in a space wherein we're trying to be one step ahead of the curve. And Jake can talk a little bit about that, but that's always kind of been our vision. And, you know, looking back, there's a heck of a lot of learnings, and there's a heck of a lot of success. And, you know, we thank all the people who stood up and embraced us, gave us advice, who came along and, you know, sat into the Clubhouse meetings, the 24-hour Clubhouse release that we did, where I lost my voice, ended up having to go to the hospital. You know, there were so many different nuts and bolts that went into this. But when we look back, and the way that we represented this phenomenal artist, and as well as Adam and iLive, you know, we're very proud of the work that we did in regards to this. And heck yeah, there's a lot more to come.
Thanks for that, Patrick. I just wanted to just quickly reset the room and remind everybody that this is kind of a conclusion party for the Omar NFT, 6 months of production leading up to the sale, which went to Adam and Candace of NFT Aficionado. And one other reminder that on the Vector Vault Twitter feed, which is available on my profile there, I'm live tweeting some interesting little nuggets, some pictures along the way of this particular story. It's kind of a fun little visual to go along with some of the things that people are saying in this room. I wanted to actually shift over here once again to Q to get a little bit of perspective from him in terms of what this NFT means to him and perhaps even beyond.
Okay. Candice?
I knew you were going to say that, Q. Well, Omar is a legend. So, full stop, really. He has such an amazing track record in the music business. And because we're into NFTs and collecting NFTs, we thought this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So we went ahead straight away and bidded for the piece. We didn't think we were going to get it, but we were lucky and we were able to secure the piece. So we're really happy to be able to have collected Omar's first NFT, and it's definitely going to be locked away in the vault for a long time. Over to you, Q.
For me, the NFT is really special because, first of all, we'd made a decision to kind of look into music NFTs. When Candice and I and our team came into this space, we didn't have any crypto. So we didn't come in as crypto, millionaires or experts or whatever it is. So basically, we come from a fiat background, and we were onboarded in the same way that many people will be onboarded into this space. And we had no knowledge of crypto, but we did have, some knowledge of art, music, fashion, and that side of NFTs. So that's why I think that we locked onto, music. And one of the NFTs that we've got is the Public Enemy NFT done by Chuck D. So we see that as a very special NFT because if you look at the history of Chuck D and of Public Enemy and their work for the community politically, it's all there in that NFT in their so-called logo. Now, if you come across to Omar, number one, I'm a Londoner. Number two, he kind of comes from the same area in London where I grew up in. And therefore, I could understand his references. But the thing about Omar was that, like nowadays, it's cool to be a nerd and it's cool to be geeky. But, when you're growing up in like Northwest London, Harlesden, Harrow Road, these kind of areas, maybe it's very similar to Harlem and Brooklyn or any kind of, I can hear myself echoing, any kind of, areas that are being kind of regenerated right now. If you saw a guy like Omar, being able to play 4 or 5 different instruments, going to a classical school and all of that sort of stuff, that wasn't necessarily cool when you were coming from what we call road. That's what the term was. That, because we use the term road because, kids just stand on the road all the time. So you're just like a road kid, So when a guy does that, right, it wasn't cool then. but he was able to carry it off. But not only that, he made music or makes music that we have things called blues in the UK. And it's hard to explain this, but, you know, when the immigrants came from whatever country to London and they weren't accepted by the main culture and they couldn't go to the pubs and the wine bars and stuff like that, they formed these underground clubs, which I suppose in America, they were the kind of speakeasies and stuff like that. So out of that as well, certain kind of music came from that. But the music, again, because this is all real kind of difficult and stuff, but it's not difficult because what I love, because the music, you know, had a mixture of the Caribbean and, you know, African influences, because London was very, very mixed, but mainly Caribbean. And, you know, that whole Caribbean influence was what was carried over to New York to make hip hop. You know, I think it was Kool Herc or whatever it was. So, and, you know, there was things called what we used to call dub plates. Dub plates were things that used to the Jamaican DJs, when they made music back in the day when they were marketing music, they would make maybe one or two of something, and that would be a dub plate or a white label. And that white label would find its way from Jamaica all the way to London. And so we used to have what later on becomes what you guys look at as rap battles. We used to have what they was called sound clashes. So one sound from one area would play against another sound from another area. And
Sorry, Q. Vintage Mozart, I think you have a hot mic.
right. So one sound would play against another sound from another area. And in order to beat them, you know, so the crowd starts yelling and the crowd starts jumping up and down, somebody would draw out their white label or dub plate that they'd got from a Jamaican DJ and whatever it is. So it was something special. Now, I'm saying that because Omar came out with songs that were played by the younger generation in that kind of vibe. So not only was he able to play the classical and all of that, you know, whatever those Mozart sort of thing and violins and string sections and, you know, for the kind of hobnobs or whatever, but he was able to bring his music right down into the blues and the dance halls and connect. So, and not just only that, it's like, you know, even when you played There's Nothing Like This, he could, okay, so when people were in the dance halls or the blues or whatever it is, and, you know, you wanted to dance with a lady, and obviously there's kind of competition in that space. So you had to be able, from the first 3 or 4 notes of that music, right, to get near the woman that you want to dance with, to invite her to dance. Of course, you could be rejected. If you were rejected by her, you had a long walk over to the other side of the room or whatever it is. But Omar's music, in the first 4 bars, you knew, right, what that song was going to be and what the melody was going to be, what the pace was going to be. And, you know, that came into something that we called in the UK called Lovers Rock. You know, so he was a part of all that movement. And then later on, you know, just being in the UK, you know, to influence D'Angelo, to influence Erykah Badu, to get the ears of Stevie Wonder, to get the ears of Maxwell, to form a sound out of the UK, which, you know, moved around the world. We had to have the NFT, right? Because I knew that history. And also something that I will say is that, you know, I've never said this to people before. You know, I created a book and I sold this book in nightclubs. and it became very fashionable because basically at the time, you know, writing and books and poetry and all of that wasn't, again, kind of cool. And also the publishers and stuff like that weren't marketing or making black books or books by black authors. So I managed to do some book, which I sold through nightclubs because the audience was there. And, you know, London, just like the NFT space now, is just exactly like how London was or like Harlem was. You know, this is a renaissance, you know? There's so much creativity going on in this space. And that's what kind of London was like, because you could come up with ideas. And, you know, in saying that, cut a long story short, you know, I even met Omar's father and his business partner, a guy called Root Jackson, at the record label. So for me personally, as soon as I saw that Omar was in this space, right, I started tracking him, right? And then I started tracking him because I wanted to see, right, if the people in this space knew who he was. Because if they didn't know who he was, it was to my advantage or to our advantage, because, you know, if you have a pioneer, a superstar, and whatever it is, and the NFT audience don't know him, right, and he's got an NFT, we can see the value in it. Okay, when Snoop and the Game come here, right, yeah, everybody knows who Snoop is, everybody knows who the Game is, but no one, you know, knew Omar, or did they know Omar? So that was our game, right? As collectors, we had to track whether the NFT space knew how important this guy was. And I'm done talking, because I could talk forever about him. I'm done talking.
Thank you, Q. And you raised some really great points there. I can see that the man Omar himself is right next to iLive NFT. Hello, Omar. How are you this evening?
I'm very good, thank you. That was some nice words there, Keith. Thank you. You're quite right about the sound, the blues dances, because that's where I've kind of fashioned my songs to be played. Because it was in the blues dances that I just remember being there and listening to certain sounds just getting pulled. So, you know, when they have to get rewound to the beginning, like 2-3 times in the dance, then you know that tune is a classic. That's a hit, and that's the kind of music that I've always tried to make, is that kind of sound. So I think I've pretty much achieved that so far. The fact that you just referenced that is perfect, because that puts it quite succinctly. So you didn't talk too much. Hello.
Kayla, I have a question for Omar and Q. So I actually have been in London quite a bit, and I'm from the USA, New York, Brooklyn, and I noticed the classism immediately. It was uncomfortable, and I'm a big poet on top of it. So with that being said, I really appreciate your guys's, you know, outlook on that, because it just goes to show how deep this goes culturally. And I already reached out to Q on Instagram, and I just went ahead and I added Omar. And I really like your guys' idea and everything, but generally poetry is something that, like, I feel like this relates to, especially with, you know, the sound, in my opinion. And I'm just trying to, you know, find my voice in the whole poetry thing, and that's inspiring, because I have 100 poems and I've had them for 10 years. So, you know, when people do these things, it's inspiring, and it's important to let them know that as artists. So thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, absolutely. Poetry is very much feels to me like a jazz element. You know, it sounds very improvised. The way it can be spoken word over music and everything. So it definitely fits in this space.
Yeah, and I just bring attention. He mentioned poetry, and then you guys brought the classism into it, and of course there's that in New York, you know, too. So it's just nice to, you know, hear it be reiterated.
Sure.
And congratulations on taking that leap and being brave, because it's hard.
Well, it's the new world order, is it? Or I don't know. You know, this is the
World
new
order.
normal, the new world order. Yeah, or everything is changing right now, man. I mean, it's everything. I don't know which way is up or down right now. So it's time to try new things.
Like, it's just, one step closer to us being able to be artists just by ourselves and everything. So thank you guys. And I'm Kayla. I'm getting that room back. Thanks, guys.
No worries. I really literally have like another 5 minutes because it's a 9-night. One of our relatives passed. So 9-night is like the wake. And
God bless.
It's just I've got to do the thing at the same time. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Omar. And one of the things to point out is Omar's had a very long and robust career. I mean, we joked about how there were Omar cassettes somewhere sitting around and wondering whether there was an 8-track floating around somewhere. But he's been around for all transitions of music as well through technology. And each time there was a shift, Omar went with the shift and then dominated in that shift. And so when NFTs came along, we had to choose somebody that was going to be able to move with technology, and Omar is a natural fit for that. So congrats, Omar. This is the right move at the right time.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Kofi. I just want to ask Omar. This is a side question. I'm happy to hear from him. And I just wanted to know how mom and dad are doing and if they are still in Ghana, because I'm in Ghana.
Are you in Ghana? Yeah, I spoke to and saw them today actually. Yeah, they're doing really well. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Happy to hear from you.
Yeah, bless. Whereabouts in Ghana are you?
I'm in Tema.
All right, yeah, the Cape Coast.
Right. Cape. Oh, okay, Cape Coast.
Yeah, Elmina.
Oh, nice.
Especially. So yeah, no, they're doing really well. I'm hoping to be in Ghana in October as well.
Wow.
At the Sky Bar in Accra.
Yeah, Sky Bar.
Yeah, you know that place. All right, so maybe we see each other there. We'll have a drink there.
Definitely, sure. Thanks.
Yeah, bless.
Hey there, it's NFTP. If it's okay for me to speak to Omar and to Adam and Jay, that'd be awesome.
Of course.
First off, I wanted to thank you all because I was here for that 24-hour period. I'm so sorry that you ended up in the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
After 24 hours. But the other thing to note was that I actually won one of those tribute pieces, and I didn't get a chance audibly to say thank you to you all for that. That was beautiful. I have that in my collection, and it's massive to me because I hear and I did watch Q and Candace with Omar received and unwrapped their NFT package, which was beautiful, and I loved it. It's so great to put a face to some of the people that are icons in this space here. So that was really, really a beautiful thing for me, and I think it's amazing how in this space now, some of these people that have impacted us either through music, like Omar. Definitely for me, as somebody that's one of the older folks in the space here, really appreciating music for a long time, I was excited and I was just thrilled with the idea of hearing this music. For me, as somebody who's been appreciating alternative music and was a mod back in the day on Vespas and really appreciating the culture of mod culture, which was clean living in hard times. And incredible music, diverse cultures and music and styles of music from the 80s. Definitely part of my how I developed my musical tastes back with, I still have cassette tapes and records and record players. So I just wanted to thank you so much. And that's all I have to say. I just wanted to thank you. It's amazing that you're here. And thank you again for the NFT gift. I'm so happy.
Bless you.
Omar, can I ask you a question? Just picking up on NFT TP. I know you've got to go to your 9 nights, and I respect that. And blessing to your family. She was talking about riding on a Vespa and being a mod.
Yeah.
So
can you just tell us anything about this song that you're doing with Paul Weller? Mate, come on, give us some.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you will want to buy a vest by Anna Parker after you heard the
There
song.
you
That's a
go.
quote from Greg Borman. And we're actually going in the studio again next week because we started another song. So it's going to be myself, Weller, and Max Beasley, who I went to school with, but he's also quite not. He's a famous actor now. You won't be disappointed. I'm really excited about this stuff. And Weller's one of the easiest guys to get along with. I mean, it's like working with Michelangelo, and then he's passed me stuff and he goes, "Well, if you don't like the lyrics, just tell me that they're crap." I'm like, "Yeah, like I'm going to tell Michelangelo that his work of art is crap." Do you know what I mean? He's that humble, but he's a phenomenal writer, phenomenal lyricist. And that goes without saying that the stuff that's coming is you're gonna be happy with it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, but you tell a good story that in your younger self, you actually supported him or something like that.
Yeah, no, I played percussion and vocals for him on a tour of Japan in 1989. And I was kind of headhunted by Camille Hines of Central Line, and I did my a cappella thing like in front of him as an audition. And he said, "Yeah, you can come on the road." And that was my first experience of a professional tour with my own percussion tech. I had a guy that set up my stuff for me. I didn't have to do any of that kind of stuff. 2 weeks of rehearsals, paid rehearsals. And then on tour in Japan, which was my first time. I think I was about 20 at the time. So an amazing experience. I can't tell you everything. That will go in my book. All right. When the book's ready, you can buy that. All right.
But that's a nice full circle to come back now to be working with Michelangelo.
Absolutely. Well, the thing is that it hadn't have dawned on me that soon enough that it was. That we should work together, because obviously, from that time, we've spoken, but never actually got around to doing anything. And he was like, yeah, come down to the studio. And from that time, I'm only just done that. I've started work on the next album. Album 9 is coming along really, really nicely. I've got some arrangements with Chris Cameron as well, who did arrangements on The Last Request, who chooses the seasons, Tell Me, and he's doing some stuff on the new music as well. So yeah, it's all coming along really, really nicely.
And Stevie Wonder, I mean, you got to tell us that story before you go. Stevie Wonder, please.
Well, Stevie, he's not on this album, but Stevie was, I've been bumping into him all through the years since like 1984, because it's just like our paths would cross. My old manager Keith Harris knew my mum and knew my dad and Root that Q was talking about, so we kind of like crossed paths that way. And then after I went to see him his '92 concert in Wembley Arena, he got a copy of my second album, Music, and said that he wanted to write me my first #1. That's how he said he loved the music. And I was like, well, I don't really care where it goes. If you work with me, that'll be a dream come true. And it wasn't until another 8 years later that I got a phone call out of the blue, somebody going, "Oh man, it's your boy." I'm like, "Who's that?" He goes, "Steve." I go, "Steve who?" He goes, "Stevie Wonder." I went, "Yeah, right. Sing me something." And he did. And then for 2 weeks, I was Stevie Wonder's ambassador. I took him restaurants, clubs, at the hotel, and then finally we ended up in the studio. We did one song, which was kind of all right, and then the second one was the track that everybody knows, which is "Feeling You." So yeah, been very, very blessed to work with the master himself.
Peace.
Omar, definitely want to thank you for taking the time for jumping in and hanging out with us. I know you've got
no worries.
You got something to do, and from the entire iLive team, we definitely appreciate you making all the time to do all the stuff we sort of threw your way.
No, pleasure, man. Thank you for all the hard work that everybody's done, and that we got this far. You know, it's an amazing time. So I'm really happy to be part of this whole project. So no, thank you guys. Thank you very, very much.
We love you, Omar. Have you
I
seen
love you too.
We've gathered here for you to celebrate you?
Bless you. You take care.
Bless, bruv.
Lots of love.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bless up, Omar.
Thank you, Omar.
Thanks, Omar.
Bless.
So, Adam, one of the things that, one of the many things that was really important to us that, you know, a few people on this conversation has said, and that is, you know, doing things in the NFT space is very much, can be at times feel a little cold or impersonal. And one of the things that we really try to do is provide a personal touch, a place that people can connect, whether it's the way that the product was delivered, you know, the gifts that were reached out to different people that received that, the contest that we did. We wanted to sort of merge it all together in a unique way and put something together that at the end of it, people can walk away and say, I felt something from the experience. And I know for everybody who has some of Vector Vault's art, when they look at it, they can feel an experience. When you look at you know, the way that your NFT was put together, Q and Candace, when you look at the way that was put together and the amount of thought and labor that went into that, the way that it was, you know, there's something that you can feel. The way that it's packaged and the way you open it, the tangibleness of it, we wanted to sort of merge all of that together in a unique way. And, you know, that process was not necessarily an easy one for us to come up with. I know Adam had a vision and Adam wanted to throw everything in the world at it. And sometimes we had to like, Adam, we got to calm down a little bit. And then we had a vision and we wanted to throw everything at it. And Omar had to look at us sometimes and be like, oh, you guys got to take it easy. Because, you know, for us, when I started this conversation, I said it was very important for us to respect the space, to respect the artists that are involved, and then respect the individuals. And I think for the most part, we pulled that off. What do you think, Otto?
Well, it was certainly an enjoyable. I'm getting a little bit of feedback there, Patrick. Sorry, we're getting yeah, I'm good. It was an enjoyable process, and I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that we were all friends and acquainted with each other. But I also think that it had to do with our style of approaching puzzles, because this is probably the most complex puzzle I've been involved with. And I'm the very first to admit that it's not a one-man show or a one-woman show for that matter. I know deep in the bleachers there is our friend Lucia, who's shy, but certainly one of the unsung heroes of this project as well. She's Omar's manager, and she kept a lot of the communication flowing very smoothly and kept this project on track. And so I'm very appreciative of all the individual soldiers that touched this thing and believed in it. And wherever we ran into obstacles, we had to adjust and adapt. I mean, we had a couple of lockdowns in London that came right in the middle of our launch, right when we had stickers printed with dates on them. We had to pivot. I think that when you get into moments like that, you get to see the real measure of people and how they react to crises and how they turn those things into opportunities. So if anything comes out of this experience for me is that we kept moving and we did not compromise in terms of quality or any of the things that we thought were going to make this thing special. And so regardless of how things turned out in the end, very proud of it. And I know that a lot of people who are involved with it feel the same way.
Just one question I wanted to ask Candace and Q. You've got the music is phenomenal. When you got the package and you had to open it and experience that, what was that like for you?
Candice, I'll answer this. And it's a very easy question. We haven't opened it. You know, we just keep looking at it, right? Swear to God, we posted something on the Instagram, right? Because we opened it and I mean, not opened it. I mean, well, when we met Omar, Omar opened one piece, and then he took out the casing that the music was in, but just in the box. And then obviously everything was put back. And then, you know, we took it back to the, you know, the office. And we just looked at it because, you know, when you buy an Apple product, the boxing is, you know, the dream, the uncasing, and it just shows you the level of the quality of that product. Because obviously Steve Jobs, you know, thought the whole packaging was an experience. So when we've looked at the box and all the different bits in it, right? We just, it's like we paid 1 ETH for this. I mean, it's phenomenal. So we haven't opened it. I'm done talking.
Because I think there's about, there's 7 to 10 different pieces in that huge big box. So we want to spend our time carefully opening it. And I think there's even a pair of gloves to open one of the pieces. So yeah, we're going to spend one of the afternoons opening it and taking a video of it so you all can see all the different pieces. Thanks, I'm done talking.
And incidentally, we put 2 pairs of gloves, one for a lady and one for a man. So.
Oh, that's great.
But, you know, that amount of detail, you know, because, you know, you get a white glove service. And I turned around to Candice and I've said it to you guys. To me, this is the launch of, you know, an NFT delivery company for rock stars, pop stars, actors, and whatever it is, or for super fans. If they don't come to you or you don't take this sector of the market, then I don't know who can. Because, you know, Adam, you even sent me a video showing the production process in a Canadian print facility. So that showed us the level of detail that this, you know, prototype, you know, what that went into it. So you've definitely got a business idea there. And there's a guy in the room, Motivate, who, you know, deals with music and business and stuff like that. And he's the first person I'm definitely going to, you know, send a video to of this unwrapping or let him see more. Because, you know, I'm not going to name drop because he can name drop himself if he wants. But I think there's definitely some traction in what you're doing if the packaging is like that. I'm done talking.
And also don't forget, we also got to go to a live concert. We saw Omar performing live at the Jazz Cafe in Camden Town in London. So that was just awesome just to be there.
Well, that's a great utility as well. You know, and not only that, we went backstage. Yeah, we met Root Jackson, who I knew from back in the day, and some of Omar's friends. And there was a woman that was waiting to get Omar's autograph. And, you know, she asked me, like, you know, can she get backstage? Because she had had a photograph with him or her daughter 27 years ago. And, you know, she was just waiting there. And I said, yeah, no problem. You know, I'll speak to the manager. And so I went and spoke to Lucia. Lucia came out. She spoke to the woman. You know, the woman came backstage. She got her photographs with Omar, her signatures. She came out and she was just beaming and showing us the photograph and the ticket that she had 27 years ago. So that shows you the Omar's fans and how, you know, they care about him and, you know, he cares about them. So that made her night. So yeah, you know, it was a wonderful NFT experience. I'm done talking.
That was such a special moment to watch. To, you know, this fan meeting Omar after 27 years of following him. That was just amazing to watch. It was really a special moment.
And this goes back to, you know, the experience that I say that we're trying to create in this particular space respecting the artist. I can never say that enough. Respecting the artist, respecting the fans. I've been talking a lot, and Jason really hasn't said a whole lot during this whole process. Jason, what's going on in your mind over there?
Who, me? I'm just listening, and it's to me, and I've very much I'm IT background, very very business process, very modular in the way I think. It was a logical conclusion. I mean, when we were deciding on the delivery of the NFT to you, Q, and to you, Candice, we were like, okay, we can send it directly to them. You can pick it up from one iLive UK studio. But I think for myself, I think for the rest of the team, I think the ultimate way to have done it is for Omar to hand it to himself, and it was just perfect that he had a show going on at that moment, and within that time frame, and I think it just adds to the whole experience that we were trying to build. I've been very quiet today, and I haven't really said very much. I'm just really listening intently, to Q and Candice's feedback, and to Adam's point, and to Patrick's point. I look at this as a proof of concept and a case study even for ourselves, to be able to kind of work out, okay, when we do this again, or if we do it again, what went right, what went wrong, what needs to change. There's a lot there, and we've got something that we can see, with the iLive NFT, well, not iLive NFT, I say the Omar NFT website, which is really just a story in itself that tells you everything that happened with that NFT. Yeah. Right through, and I'm sure Adam will update the website at some point, right through to its conclusion. So it's something that we can always look back on and draw from going forward, and we hope that we've made it public and available to everybody with all the information that you require, and we're hoping that you can look at what we've done and take elements and ideas and build your own experiences. That was a real reason why we went as far as we did.
There's been a lot of interesting things that's come out of this. A big piece of it for us was to try to educate people about the NFT space, about crypto, about how to get a wallet, and there was a lot of work that needed to go into that. So we've had a lot of people who come to us and they're asking for this information. We've had a lot of independent artists coming to us and saying, okay, you guys did this. How can I do this? How can I move into this space? And for us, we've always been an organization that is always looking at ways to share knowledge, to work with, to collaborate with individuals. If you guys have questions, by all means, you can reach out to myself, Patrick O'Morris, on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, Jason, DJ Sessions on Instagram, Facebook. You can hit up the iLive page pretty much anywhere, iLive. You can hit up Adam Vector Vault. You can hit him up, Twitter, pretty much everywhere. And, we're pretty accessible. We're more than willing to talk, share our experience, and continue the journey. More to come, right, Jason?
Well, that's really a question for Adam.
Adam needs a little nap after the Omar thing. I definitely need to rest my eyes.
Yeah, it was.
There's a lot of opportunities that are presenting themselves, and as a team, we're gonna regroup and look for a path forward. And I know Adam, you need a rest. We need a rest, and recalibrate and move forward.
No, I'm teasing. I've had enough time to rest.
Oh, really?
Reflect.
Oh, boy.
But I'm just I'm commenting more upon the sheer scale of it. This is the biggest project I've ever undertaken. There was a lot of moving pieces, a lot of challenges to it. Just to remind everybody that I've been live tweeting on my Twitter feed all kinds of interesting little gems along the way. It's been 6 months, so we also felt that it was important to capture the story along the way. That makes the project bigger because I've got a file that's about as heavy as a piano in terms of digital assets. But surrounding that, I've got all kinds of social media stuff that we made along the way. When we hit a certain benchmark, we made a video. When somebody had something great to say about Omar, we made another video. We tried to keep people involved and engaged. And then when we're left with all of these moving pieces at the end, our intention is to collect it all up into a real template that people can freely take a look at, learn from, and extract the good stuff.
I just want to say hello to so many great friends here. But it's David, Bianchi just came up. Sheila's here, of course. I don't know it. Hamina, Black Dave, Motivate, of course, Art Jedi. But, does anybody have any questions, Chris, that they want to ask at this juncture? Or do you want to get to know Omar or by another song or something? I'm done talking.
Yes, the song.
I got something here.
I was going to say the same thing.
I'd love to hear another joint.
I've got something queued up, Adam. We've got.
Oh, you do? Of course you do. DJ
yes,
sessions,
I'm a
ladies and
DJ,
gentlemen.
right? Okay. Let me cue this up. And this is very special to myself because the artist that's on here is this Omar, released an album called Love and Beats a couple of years ago. And, he had his first track was a track called Vicky's Tune, which features Robert Glasper and a rapper called Ty from the UK. And Ty is a personal friend of mine and a good friend of iLive's, and unfortunately died last year. We just celebrated his first anniversary of his passing, and today is his birthday. So we're doing something special on the radio station in the UK, and we've got something special coming up this Friday. But I just want to play this song because it's one of my favorites. This is Omar, Vicky's Tune.
Beginning to control it. They tried to throw me right off sand. Don't you realize it's mine and I own one? Do you know? It's all time. There's something wrong with me. I don't stop. I know what you mean to me. Yes, please stop. No, we can't be guaranteed. I won't stop. Oh, you must be kidding me. It's
We got issues to deal with. If not you, who can I keep it real with? The man in the mirror is not making it clearer. Gotta get a grip as the end draws nearer. Don't know how you love me regardless. Even when I'm upset, talking the hardest. It's like I jump on the bonfire. Jump to the burn, then I jump higher. It's a merry-go-round again. There's no looking down, we were bound to end. Up here, all kinds of fear, self-doubt, chewing on the ear, so beware. Got the world in the palm of my hand. But there's many things that I don't understand, but I know together we're a marvelous band. Sweet music forever is a marvelous plan. I bang bang with the boogie, we got the work.
So that was Omar and Vicky's Tune, R.I.P. Ty.
Amazing. Awesome.
Yeah, he's an incredible artist, and you know, I encourage you, if you go to omarnft.com, Adam's done a fantastic tribute to his music, performances, you know, all his, you know, anything he can get on online, he's got links to everything. So by all means, go and explore. I mean, he's been in the industry for so many years and has so much music and so much material out there, you know, and all of it unique and all of it very, very, very much Omar. So we, like I said, we were very proud to represent him with our NFT, and we had to give that NFT the right gravity and brevity that it required based on the artist that we were dealing with.
Yeah, there's just too much music. That's the thing. It's an absolute galaxy of music, and as Q pointed out earlier, Omar's work touches upon a lot of different genres as well. You're going to hear a lot of reggae. You're going to hear a lot of ska and soul, and even a little bit of rock and roll. It's all over the place. And in fact, it's what makes him such a tremendous artist and a very comfortable artist to work with other artists. So he's an artist's artist, if I could sum it up. Now, just to dovetail back to Q's suggestion and to refresh the room very quickly, this is the Omar NFT conclusion clubhouse. And once again, we've been live tweeting images and video from the past 6 months on Vector Vault Twitter, which you can find on my profile. Is there anyone here in the room that would like to pose a question to either myself, Vector Vault, Jason Henry of iLive NFT? Please raise your hand or speak up.
So, Vector, I want to ask if Omar has a song with D'Angelo.
Once again, I'm going to have to pass that question over to the music genius component of this team. Okay, you can feel that, Jay.
Yeah, no, actually, he doesn't have a song with D'Angelo. They've met a number of times. I understand that in conversations with Omar, that, you know, I don't know if there's going to be anything that they're going to do at some point, but, you know, D'Angelo's a huge fan. Probably the best person to answer the question was there's a secret track lying around is probably Lucia. I'm sure she's still in the audience, and I'm sure she won't even tell us if there was. But no, I mean, you know, it's you know, D'Angelo's a huge fan. He quotes Omar as one of his biggest influences, and you know, to me, it's always a case of a matter of time. I just want to share a quick story with one of the artists that, you know, we work with called Zoe from Foreign Exchange. You know, we connected them on a concert in 2017 and again in 2018 on 2 festivals. And, you know, Zoe was a huge Omar fan, you know, from, you know, we first heard him in early 2000s. So from that opportunity came a collaboration on Zoe's latest album, which came out a couple of months ago. You know, which is once again a full circle journey of nearly 4 years of them talking and having conversations, and Zoe being a fan, and Omar actually being a fan of Zoe. One thing we try to do outside of this NFT space and in terms of our music space is create those opportunities for collaborations between artists based on our relationships. And I think it's going to lend us well to help do that within the NFT space as well. So to answer your question long-windedly, like, as far as I know, there isn't one, but, you know, next time I go to London, I'll ask him.
So what about this Q-tip thing?
Ah, the Q-tip thing. Okay. So once again, you know, we had a long-standing relationship, or I have a long-standing relationship with Q-tip's A&R person. So little people know Q-tip's actually got his own record label called the Yoda Tip. He hasn't released anything on it as yet, but for the last 3 to 4 years, he's been basically making music and working with artists and working out what he's going to do. So I became, you know, good friends with his A&R person, who actually hooked up that whole, you know, Q-tip Omar meetup via FaceTime. So she had moved back to London, or moved back to England, and, you know, I got her to go down to the concert. And once again, Q-tip, huge fan, all right, like massive fan of Omar, but they've never worked together, and they've never really talked to each other before. And that's the first time they actually had a conversation. So once again, as part of this NFT experience, you know, we're connecting artists outside of the NFT space as well, but using the NFT as a kind of the primer. And Q-tip got his own, you know, box, you know, that he got sent. So, you know, we're trying to make those kind of connections. But, you know, there may be, and I would imagine that at some point there will be a Q-tip Omar track coming. I would like to see that happen. I really would.
It's NFTP again. I have another question before we go too far away from what Omar said before he left here.
Okay.
Is of course, just to bring it back to the mod thing, he did just drop an incredible piece of information for anybody that's actually really kind of following the idea of mods and stuff. I just retweeted something that I took a photograph when I went to the UK. I went straight to Brighton. And anybody that knows anything about that would see the significance. But he just said something about collaborating with Paul Weller, which is like massive to me. So I was just wondering, he said he can't say anything about that, but when can we expect that we would get some more information on that? Because I'm pretty fangirling right now.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are. We're our ears to the ground as well. In terms of, I know it's going to be coming out on his 9th album release, which is the next album he's going to release. And I know he's mixing the album at Paul Weller's studio. So, they took the opportunity to obviously make some music. Once again, I'm not his management. Lucia says I am for North America, but whatever, I'm not listening. But I need, the moment we get information, we'll let you guys know. Because, I'm dying to hear this Paul Weller collaboration. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. I can feel it.
I know.
I can feel it in my bones. It's going to be the track of that album, no doubt. It really is.
Awesome. Thanks so much for answering that. But yeah, just to hype it up a bit, because it's massive, 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 massive. I'm so keen on it. Thank you so much.
No problem.
You guys mind if I ask maybe a more broad question? I don't know if anyone has anything related to what we've just been talking about, but
sure, go ahead.
Okay, I was like, that's enough pause for me. Jason, maybe, well, I guess this is for all of you guys actually. I would like, and at the very beginning of the conversation, we talked about like sort of music in the NFT space. I want to hear maybe some of you guys' broad thoughts about the future of music when it comes to NFT. You guys, it seems like, have much more experience than people with much more success in this space, and I think there are like two stories that are going to happen in the NFT space, and there's one for independent artists and one for artists who are established and maybe are in record scenarios. But I would love to hear some of your maybe broad thoughts about the future of music and how NFT will be shaping that.
Well, that's a whole hour conversation.
That's why I said broadly. I talk about this endlessly, so
yeah.
I just broadly.
I have lots of opinions about it. I do believe there's two tracks. I look at the Omar project as a curation of an existing artist that has an existing fan base, that you've got a lot of material you can work with to be able to create something really special. That creates, there's a certain strategy and target market you're going after that, right? But I also work a lot with independent artists, and independent artists are being strangled by these streaming services, and the NFT space allows opportunity for them to be able to collect revenue, right? If you do it right. And I mean, the technology is still catching up from a music perspective in terms of, splits, copyright, all that stuff baked into smart contracts. That's still on a catch up. But I think it's the next evolution, of where music's going to go, because it really allows the artists to become really independent. They're partially independent now.
And retain ownership.
And retain ownership, yeah, you can retain ownership. But they're partially independent now because, you can go put your stuff on SoundCloud and become famous, you've got streaming platforms like, you've got platforms that sell music like Bandcamp that you can, build a fan base. So, the relevance of the record in the music business and record labels, are becoming less relevant now to me. But I think the unlock for everybody is going to be NFTs. That's just my personal opinion. I've done a bunch of sound table shows on my radio station just talking about this concept and just trying to work it out. But, from a broad perspective, I think that, I think the NFT potentially is going to be the game changer for music.
Can I just jump in there? Motivate. I'd like to hear what you've got to say, and then Lo, and obviously David, because you're all in this space. So starting with you, Motivate, what do you think about the future of music and NFTs? I'm done talking.
Oh man. Yeah, our conversation at the least. um, I think realistically, the future of music and NFTs is right around the corner. You have platforms like Foundation now having features for 320K MP3 uploads as well as WAV files. So I'm assuming that once they start introducing FLAC, FLAC files, or even Ableton Live session files, I think there's going to be a huge, huge opportunity from everyone from Splice to anybody that holds masters and stems to things, anybody that understands ticketing and meet and greet and exclusive experiences that are immersive with artists. Um, there's just the sky's the limit, and I think that we're still very, very, very at the tip of the iceberg with this stuff, and we've got a long way to go, and it looks very promising and exciting, and knowing what the music industry dinosaur prehistoric models have been for the past 10, 20, 30, 40 years, I think it should be exciting. And I think it's going to provide a lot of opportunity, but it's also going to require a lot of work in terms of protecting IP and also actually paying out on royalties. And, there's a lot to go into with it. I'm more than anything, I'm excited, but I'm kind of afraid because I think that it might make some of my favorite artists' music inaccessible, and that's what I don't want to see happen. So that's it. I could go on and on about it, but I got to keep it as short as that.
No.
Yeah. I guess, like you said, it's a very long conversation. Most of the conversations I have are on this topic, and I hate to be a wet blanket, but for me, I'm not as excited as I am fearful of the same old, same old. And I talk a lot about the MP3 revolution and the similarities to NFTs. And I am, that's why, well, if you know me, you know I'm usually on the rant about sovereignty and ownership and keeping what's yours, and creators getting their due, because I am scared, because money tends to win these battles, and they got a lot of it, and they're going to make more as they come into the space. And I'm talking about the legacy system. And I am excited for the possibilities of what this could do for the independent artists and the way that we can build communities with NFTs and keep track of our communities and engage with our fans and take people from being fans to being part of our movement. Yeah, it's exciting, but it's also very scary, because the easier they make it to just go with the legacy system, the more people that are going to go. And so, not to take up too much time, I am excited but fearful, and focused on education, because that will conquer their legacy and their money. So that's where
I mean, sorry to cut you. You just said you're fearful. Motivate said he's fearful. David, you're inventing a new genre of cinema. What do you think about it? And you're using spoken word in that space. What's your feelings on this? I'm done talking. Okay, Swinton, what's your feeling about this? You're a up and coming
Yeah,
entrepreneur in this space. I'm done talking.
yeah, definitely, man. Appreciate you, Q. Shout out to Omar and shout out to everyone in this room as we speak. I'm going to be more of a positive Perry and just say that I'm a little bit more hopeful, you know what I'm saying, with the future of music NFTs. And I just see it being more visually based. We're going to see more and more artists, music artists, beginners or like long, outstanding, legendary artists, incorporating more visuals, more art with their music to kind of like give the audience, to give the viewer a little bit more in terms of like a story or even an experience that they can never forget, like an audio visual type experience. And one of the things that I would love to do, and I'm working on every day, is I'm trying to push myself to be more of an audio visual artist, performer, not just a motion graphic designer, not just a music producer, beat maker, etc. I want to do a little bit more. So I'm looking at it like I see myself as the future of music, and in taking it to the next level with visuals, but not just myself, but us. So yeah, of course, music is changing. The business of music will change with NFTs, and I'm all about the artist, supporting the artist, and like we have ownership, like Loa has been teaching us, and having creative freedom, like Black Dave has been teaching us, and like UQ, you are helping the conversations keep going, and we're building ideas to become better. So we can always have ownership of our creative freedom and our talents. Like nothing can stop us. So I'm gonna just kind of leave it there and just say that I'm looking at it like we are definitely the future of music, and taking it to the next level with visuals. And Switzerland the Great, and I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Hey, yo, this is
Just one
Chris.
question. Yeah, I'm going to come to you, Chris, because I'm leaving the best to last. Black Dave. Yeah, I'm leaving the best to last. But Black Dave is the best too. So Black Dave, what's your thinking on all of this, please?
You know, I have a Substack post going live in 30 minutes about how I felt about my most recent NFT music drop. I think that right now this is an opportunity for people who are on the ground. I don't think that this is an opportunity for people who are up higher. Anytime someone who has a platform enters NFT, I'm disappointed. I think the disappointment comes in understanding someone's real world value, and that value not being recognized or replicated in this space because of just whatever, right? Like even when we think about the Omar NFT, knowing like the legend that Omar is, right? Like you would be like, wow, this should have gone insane. Not that it didn't do well, not that it isn't a success, right? But success can be many things. And I think in terms of music for independent artists, for small artists, you guys have all heard me say that I've made, over 500,000 streams worth of money, and I'm an artist who has 25,000 streams in real life. So I think that there's an opportunity. I think artists who are larger are in for a rude awakening, the same way that I told fine artists when they entered the NFT space. I said, you guys need to make sure that you don't bring your ego with you, or you'll be very hurt. And so I think it's the same. I think this is an opportunity for independent artists. I think this is an opportunity for people who are in control of their assets. And if you aren't in control of your assets, I think you're going to be let down. And maybe I'll leave it there.
Chris.
Yes, sir. This is Chris coming from Tongva and Chumash land here in Los Angeles. Guido Corleone, Luminaries crew. I was listening to an interview, and I love what everybody said. I mean, I'm just going to add to what everyone's saying. I was listening to an interview with Brother Jay from X-Clan the other night, and he said about NFTs, he said, I know what liberation looks like when I see it. And this is liberation. I mean, we're in the throes of an evolutionary and revolutionary moment. And, coming from an independent background, like they say, if you have 1,000 diehard fans, like you could do anything. You could do what you love in the music world and be very successful, I think in the NFT world, you could have 100 diehard fans. You could have 10 diehard collectors. You could have one diehard collector. And that diehard collector could subsidize your work for the people to see after they experience it, So I think right now, my kind of approach is that the NFT space is I'm approaching it's for all the collectors, the people like us who are in this room, people who are diehard fans, And once the initial drop comes out, which would have all kinds of unlockables, it would have all kinds of accessible content. It would have a backstage pass to the show or a meet and greet, like Eric was saying. But once that kind of plays itself out, well, a month, 2 months, 3 months down the road, we can release the music in just a streaming platform, therefore bypassing that kind of indentured servitude, sharecropper mentality. So that's some of my thoughts about it right now. My name's Chris. I'm done talking.
Cool, Chris. Pat, you're a musician. You're in the NFT space. You're making NFTs. You work with big artists. What's your feelings on this, Pat? I'm done talking.
Thanks, Q. Hello, everyone. Good to see all the friends. I mean, this is a weird time for me. I can't really speak on like the macro sense of how like the industry is being affected, but all I can really comment on is like what it looks like from my vantage point. And in the past month, I've made more from NFTs than I've made in years of my career, and I've been grinding it as a touring musician for 10 years. And I literally just got off the phone an hour ago with somebody giving me a tour offer to go open for the Jonas Brothers, and I said no instantly. And it was an offer I would have said yes to instantly, before I had discovered NFTs, and I just said, hey, like, I don't like, this is going to be less than I'm going to make at home, and I have to see how far I can take this stuff. So for me, it's been quite a dramatic change in terms of the freedom that I have creatively and financially, and really my only focus now is on capitalizing on that, getting better, and continuing down this path. But in terms of like bigger picture stuff, I can't comment. I just know how it's affected, one dude, aka me.
Pat, I think something that you really tapped on that a lot of people this is what I think makes this conversation so interesting, is that it's about like the possibility. Like I always say that like when you really wrap your head around NFTs, what keeps you up at night is the possibilities. And I feel like you saying I turned down this tour that I would have not turned down probably even 3 or 6 months ago, like in speaking to the possibility of what NFTs could be, I think that's what excites all of us and allows all of us to be able to talk about this for very long periods at a time. Thanks, Q, for letting me jump in front of you.
Are there any other musicians in the room, or artists, or anybody that wants to speak on this subject? And then we can go back to the gentleman that asked the question to see if his question has been answered in the way that he wanted. I'm done talking.
Hey, I'll say one thing about you, Q, and you, Black Dave. I mean, Dave, what you're doing is revolutionary, of like selling a token to a verse. I don't know if you want to share with the people what you've been doing. I'm sure a lot of people know. And it's like the dynamic between the two of you is beautiful. You've made Q an A&R. He was a collector, he's a supporter, a friend and comrade, but now he's an A&R. He's a producer. He's an executive producer. And who knows what that token will be worth as you continue to help people and, grow from this point on. So I just wanted to throw that in if you wanted to speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, it's continued possibility, right? Like the idea that we can take our skills and our talents and tokenize them for use or for claiming at a later date is a future for, I would say, people of all skills, right? Imagine, receiving a token for law services, or receiving a token for a massage in the future, maybe from someone who's in law school, or from someone who's in massage school, or something like that. And I think that this is an interesting opportunity and an interesting future where we can support each other on our way up. And then once we make it up, then we can give our supporters that return on the support that they gave us at the beginning. That's how I think about it. There's so much possibility. Like endless possibility to the type of things that you can do with this token. And for anyone who doesn't know, I mentioned an NFT token that once you won the auction, you're able to cash it in at any time in order to receive a rap verse from me on a song of your choosing. And so I just think about it as a service NFT in a sense. And I think if you are offering a service or a talent tokenized, I just think it's super special. And I think it's a huge future. I think this is when we talk about independence, right? And we think about crowdfunding and we think about like people who want to invest in what you're doing. And I don't consider this an investment at all. I consider this a service that is paid for beforehand. But I think that like just when I say possibility keeps you up at night, this is the type of thing that could possibly like keep us up at night in a good way. Like, oh, you know, I am a rapper, I'm a producer, or let's even take it to this. I'm Omar when I'm 19 years old, you know? And you're like, this guy is something. And you know, say for instance, you had a token that represented receiving music from him specifically for you in the future, and imagine what that could be worth now. I think that this is the type of future that we could be in. And of course, I hugely agree on the A&R aspect, but like that's just in my specific case. This could be any sort of space. Imagine anyone who you can think of who is huge and think about them 10 years earlier. And if you could have requested a service from them to claim in 10 years and say, oh, look at you now. By the way, I have this token, you know, and they remember, of course they remember. We all remember who supported us at the beginning. So I just think it's an interesting opportunity, and it's a continued story of possibility. And I was, of course, thankful to Q and Candace and the gang. Hopefully we can make something cool.
I'm sure we can. Diverse beatmaker, come on. Let me hear what you've got to say about the future of music NFTs. I'm done talking.
Well, I've got pretty much to say. I just agree with most of what everyone else is saying. Also, I'll add it will give musicians more freedom to really create projects without restriction, and for them to really get the better recognition, better freedom, and better monetize and control their art a lot better, and all of what everyone else said. And I really look forward to bringing some more projects through and seeing some more of the fantastic projects that's coming through. Thanks for holding such a fantastic room, Q, iLive. Let's keep being great, guys. The NFT community is fantastic. One love and mighty blessed, it's diverse. I'm done talking. Thank you so much.
Hey, Jay, I hand it back to you and Adam, or anybody else with another question. I'm done talking.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Q, for spearheading that conversation with some of your close friends. And I hope we become friends as well. I found each of those perspectives on music to be quite enlightening. Jay and I and Patrick have had many late night conversations and strategy sessions around the concept of music and what it means and how to package it. And so I'm constantly learning stuff. And I just want to thank everybody that participated in this conversation today.
Hi, I would like to have a question. Is there going to be some Omar live concert ticket sales through the Omar NFT platforms?
Sounds like you've been reading our diary, because we've had some Adam. Somebody let the cat out of the bag.
Adam. We will neither confirm or deny that statement.
What we will say is that it was this was definitely a labor of love for us, and there are many things that we are considering in the future, and many things, that opportunities that have presented itself. And a little earlier I said that we've learned a lot through this process, and there's been a lot of unexpected things that's popped up through this process, and a lot more to come. Is about as simple as I can put that.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What was one thing or two things that you didn't know before that you
oh my God
know now or you've learned now?
Q.
I'm done talking.
Q, we didn't know anything before. and we still think we don't really know anything. When you think about it, there's so much that we don't know until we find out that we don't know. One of the biggest challenges with the process was, contracts. And that was, it's a good thing, we have somebody that's in our back pocket that's really good with contracts. But being able to have that in the NFT space, that was something that is now coming out, but at the time it wasn't available. And being able to figure out what that was going to look like in the short term and the long term, that was huge. That was, I would say, one of the big things. What do you say, Jay?
Yeah, just to answer your question, Q, I think that was a major one, because obviously, we're trying to protect Omar's copyright and potentially ownership of that track, right? What that legalese outside of the NFT space look like is something that we kind of caught ourselves with, and then realized we had to but go research, and we had a resource that was available to us. I think the other thing that, for myself personally, that I learned was, what the NFT space looks like on the outside isn't what it is on the inside. And the reason why I say that is because, you get the impression, okay, this is an NFT, this is what it is, a non-fungible token, this can't be that difficult, et cetera, et cetera. But then there's this whole metaverse and universe that sits, and fortunately, Clubhouse was a great resource for me, just going into rooms, listening to people's experiences, listening to what people are saying, having conversations with people, connecting with people on Twitter and connecting people on Instagram, just to glean information about, this space, because, what it looks like on the outside is not what it actually is on the inside. From an engagement perspective, in terms of when we were building this thing out, we're relatively new in the space, and we're not influencers in any rooms. We were trying to work those pieces out as well, but we wanted to do something that was impactful, and people could see and touch and taste and whatever. So I think that's the biggest learning for me was, I didn't underestimate or underestimate the NFT space, but it was far deeper than I thought it would be, just from a human connection and from the way the community is built and the great support the community has and shows for their artists, etc. Coming from the outside, coming in and getting some really great conversations and support from people like yourself, Q, who believed in our project, has been a real eye-opener for me. It's not, ones and zeros like I usually look at. It's a lot more complex.
Okay, Mr. Programming Guy.
Whatever.
But you know what? You just said one of the most interesting things, the both of you, that you didn't know anything. And, we approached the space like that, and we still do. And I think that's the best way to approach this space without not knowing. And I'd like Black Dave to speak on something, because the thing that you didn't know is the thing that Black Dave says should be tied to an NFT. And that's what you did, which is tying a legal contract to the NFT. Black Dave, I've heard you speak about this so many times. Why do you think that's so important? I'm done talking.
I picked it up from Ali-ish. Ali would always be like, smart contracts aren't smart, nor are they contracts. And I always somewhat agreed, but I think what's important to recognize, right, is that you can't really a lot of times take a smart contract to court. You can always take a real contract to court. Saying that the code should have done this is going to be weird to take to court, because it's like, what happened in between all that time and blah 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 blah. I think when we're looking at the term smart contract, right? It's smart because it's code, and it's a contract because it's code. It's not smart or an actual contract. It's actually just more of an enactor of what we put in it beforehand. And I like the term smart contract, and I think it's cool and catchy and blah blah blah. But it's really, really important to know that the laws on the blockchain aren't their own set of laws. We still have to follow a lot of the same legal laws that exists wherever we are. So being taken to court over a smart contract, or which is actually just code, versus being taken to court over an actual agreement that you guys had in person. Those are sort of two different conversations, but I think it's still important. And this is coming from me as a guy who I feel like is breaking the law with every NFT that I release. I still think it's important. Just because I don't do it doesn't mean it's not important. I know a lot of you guys really, really care about covering your ass, and you should. I just, I'm different. But I think, yeah, that's my short version.
I'd actually like to, and thank you, Black Dave, for that perspective. I'd actually like to invite some perspective from the Soulish down there at the bottom of our stage. Just to introduce her properly, she was there to support us from a legal perspective and kept things on track, nice and tight and fair. Maybe you'd like to speak a little bit about your experience with the legal side of the Omar NFT.
Thank you for letting me speak. My name is Christina. I'm the Soulish. I have 28 years as a commercial and contracts manager across various industries. And one of the things that I've been investigating a lot is the smart contract field. And what I'm noticing, if anybody knows a little bit about contracts and contract law and how we manage contracts, irrespective of the industry, there is a post-award, contract award, where once it's signed by all parties, there's the actual management system of it. And what I'm noticing is that what they're calling these smart contracts, it's really a contract management system. It doesn't cover the legal aspects of, who owns what, how do you protect your rights at this time. It's not there yet. So we have to fill in that gap, which is you still have to go old school. You still have to bring in the proper contracts, bring in the proper people who can write these contracts and cover everybody's interests and make sure that it is executed and then managed properly outside of what is now being called a contract management system, the smart contracts. I'm done.
Truth be told, it's just a website with a little bit of a back end. But when they say smart contract, they mean that they've set the train tracks for the smart contract, but they haven't yet really built the train or the train station. So we've got the framework there. But I would agree with Black Dave. I think Q knows. I'm running a project at the moment where the necessity is to have a legal binding document between the parties where everybody declares that you're not doing money laundering, you're in a certain territory where you would declare your own tax and you're responsible for it. There is no joint venture between the parties or a partnership, but you're just related because there is some ownership over an NFT and maybe some kind of side utility or arrangement. But very, very clear terms that are legally binding in a certain jurisdiction around the world. So it can be so it can go to to court if needs be. It can be adjudicated. So you have to have that contract today. Until the sites build that facility, it won't be there. But just reverting very quickly back to what you're talking about before, the fantastic thing about this space is none of us really know what we're doing, and a lot of us have been here a long time, but the things are changing, they're evolving, the laws are not clear, they're actually not established yet, the SEC is still thinking and pondering about what they're doing, blowing smoke. So we don't know exactly what the future of the industry will be exactly. We know it will probably be regulated. We know that the technology today is in its infancy, and that technology will probably evolve and get much more advanced. We know that big brands and major corporations are coming into the space, so we know that things are going to advance considerably as that money comes in, a bit of centralization comes in, because it's not ever going to be this total decentralized utopia that I guess we believed when we first got here. But it will certainly be a combination of decentralized and centralized technology together and resources, and it will be much more advanced than what we got today. So the fact is, there's a lot to learn. The landscape is flat, and we can all right now start and innovate and start initiatives. Massive kudos to Black Dave or anybody else, like, you know, the initiatives that I'm doing right now. I would say it does leave me awake at night thinking I'm doing things that others haven't yet. And is that all right? And is it going to be okay? But I believe in what I'm doing, and I give, massive flowers to anyone who does innovate like that. But it's a fairly grey area. We're all learning, so it's okay to not fully know exactly what's going on. And I think it's fantastic if you're starting to lay train tracks in different directions and structures that could produce and yield massive results and impact for other people and for yourselves. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Q, for inviting me.
I'd just like to ask, I'm just going to throw him into it because he's just gone onto stage. Winebags, what do you think about the future of music NFTs? I mean, you run rooms and lots of, musicians who are trying to find their way with music NFTs. How are you finding it, and what's your feedback from all of this? I'm done talking.
Hey, Q. Yeah, thank you for calling on me. And hello, everybody. It's hard to say. I mean, it does feel like it's still early, and there are a few people really pioneering, specifically like music NFTs, BT, Blau, like sort of all, the people we already know. But I've seen a lot of people talking about giving, selling rights to their songs. I've seen a lot of people talking about doing stems in remix competitions. And I think also, the whole using like Mintgate or Collabland as, having NFTs be tickets to events, whether they're virtual or not, I think might be a huge step. But
what is Mintgate and what is Collabland? Sorry to cut you into you.
I'm guessing there's probably somebody here that could explain it a lot better than I. But pretty much with Mintgate, as far as I'm aware, you can gate certain URLs based on what tokens people hold in their wallets. And yeah, I'm sure there's a lot more to it, and I'm sure there's many people way more knowledgeable about that than I. But
that's actually a perfect explanation. It token gates experiences. Collabland does it in Discord and Telegram, and Mintgate does it with the web.
Okay, and then you were Winebags. You were talking about ticketing and stuff like that. Sorry to cut into you.
No, not at all. Yeah. I mean, I think ticketing will be huge. I mean, that's sort of the thing I'm looking to is, I mean, right when I found out about Collabland, and I think I found out about Collabland from Black Dave actually, and right when I found out about it, I was like, oh yeah, this is what I've been looking for. And I found Mintgate shortly after, and I think those will be huge for music. That's all for me.
Hey, I wanted to say a quick piece to something that Diverse said earlier about the freedom that artists can have. Just a real quick piece. It feels like music, maybe in the time of Omar, like when he was really coming up, and in the 60s and the 70s, like music was really all about the music, and it was structured around the artists, and then somehow things shifted. It was like the profit sharing got extracted. And we live in a modern society where artists really have to kind of cater to corporate sponsorships. And I think that NFTs is removing that. It's chopping the head off of that altogether. It's like what a major or even an indie artist would do for a corporate sponsorship, they could get from, they could generate wealth and resources in the NFT field maybe far surpassing even what they would have to do to do, dare I say, bow down before a corporation. But I love that part, and that's another part of the freedom and the liberation. I'm Chris. I'm done talking.
But Jay, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is Jay still here?
Jay's still here. Oh, sorry, 1 second.
Hello, Jay.
Hold on 1
or
second.
Patrick, are you guys still here? Can you hear me?
1 second. Let me unmute.
We can hear you.
I can
Yeah, sorry. We're muted.
What did you guys think about the Tory Lanez drop? I'm done talking.
I was surprised. I heard that he was doing one. What I was surprised about was the result. He came on Instagram and said he sold 1 million in 10 minutes. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but it's something that, when it happened, I remember hitting up Patrick and a couple of my colleagues. I said, I told you, someone's going to come in this space and they're going to drop a massive NFT and it's going to be a big artist and encapsulated within the platform. And it's kind of like that idea of getting it to his audience. And I think I'm not sure, I forget the name of the platform that they used to do so. But, when I went onto the platform to take a look, because obviously I'm curious of how he did it, that kind of like one-stop shop ability to be able to buy it, I think was the unlock for that particular one. Because one of the things that we found with the Omar NFT, there was a number of, Omar fans that actually wanted to bid, but the whole concept and the complexity of having to set up a wallet and attaching a credit card to it was just too much of a jump for them to be able to participate. And I think one of the things that we learned from our experience with the Omar NFT is that we need to bridge that gap on any future NFTs that we do. And I think that the Tory Lanez drop of the NFT album did that, wrapped around that application. So that's my thoughts on it. I'm done talking.
I mean, I got a message from somebody who wants to ask about utility. I don't know whether they're on the stage. If you're on the stage, go ahead. If not, then raise your hand and then come up and ask the question. I'm done talking.
I believe it was me. Hi, Gal. It's Kamani here. We were just talking about the legal aspects of NFTs and kind of the freedoms that we can experience. And I'm coming at it from a filmmaker perspective and how to implement a large organization chart into shared ownership and creator equity and that sort of thing. And I'm really excited when this topic comes up because NFTs really are. It's a way of making sure that you own your content that you create, but it's also a way of implementing a profit share within your organization if you want to, or you can fractionalize ownership rights to very specific definitions down to the actual token hash, as Black Dave was kind of referring to there. So we're in a different time, and I just encourage everybody to really try to keep their mind as open as possible as far as how far we can expand these digital assets and what they can do. And if you're interested in my approach to fractional tokenomics, on my Twitter account, on the Beacons page, the very first link. It's a public white deck. It's 13 pages. It really explains how to approach a minted pool of tokens to represent IP ownership, and how you can diversify the assets within an IP just using staking documents, just like we were just talking about. And anyway, I don't want to. This can go on and on, but thanks for letting me speak. And like I said, I'm Kamani, and I'll take my mic off. Thank you.
Yeah, but hold on. You can't just do that and just go. I mean, I don't know anything, right? So when you talk about staking documents, because when I hear stake, it's to do with NFTs where you stake or burn. So where do staking documents come into it in the way that you're talking about it? I'm done talking.
I see. I see that's why that's confusing. A staking document for at least I'm just coming at it from the film industry. So if I were to co-direct a film with Black Dave or somebody, one of my friends in the room, we could write up how that IP is defined before we ever film anything. That's the staking document. So when you apply that to NFTs, it's going to be a long document, but let's say you have a minted pool of 100,000 tokens collectible tokens representing ownership of an intellectual property. That ownership definition is up to you as the IP creator. It doesn't have to be out and out ownership. It can be non-governance ownership, which is kind of what you want if you're the IP creator. So that's all. It's just a mental approach to how to diversify the assets within an intellectual property. So I'm a photojournalist. And I'm a filmmaker, and so I could potentially write up a staking document for, a shot of LeBron James or a shot of Kobe that I might have taken, and I could fractionalize ownership through a staking document. But I was just wanting to add on to what Black Dave was saying about needing to have paperwork to represent everything that you're doing, and that this sort of style of thinking and approach can really benefit us. Because like you said, down to the token hash, you can define what those tokens are able to do and what legal rights they have, down to the hash. So that's incredible stuff.
So that's the pinned document on your Twitter, right? That's what we all got to go and rush and have a look at.
Yeah, it's 13 pages
right
again.
now.
But I would love for anybody who has questions about fractional tokenomics, how to approach minting a pool of tokens to represent your intellectual property. I'm coming at it from a film production standpoint, so the document's written from that perspective, but it can literally be applied to anything that can be called intellectual property. I was just working with a sculptor the other day about minting a pool of 500 tokens to represent ownership in his sculpture. Now, the neat thing about this utility is that he's offering, just like as suggested in the document, he's offering 10% of these tokens to the marketplace, so we can fund his sculpture and own a piece of the sculpture. Now, how he defines the rights, I mean, I haven't seen that, but obviously, I wouldn't be able to govern the rights over that sculpture. I probably wouldn't have commercial rights over the sculpture if I bought a fractional percentage. But it's still pretty cool. It's a cool thing to have in my wallet. So just keep that in mind. I see a lot of big names in the space. Omar, by the way, I really love your music. I don't want to get away from that. Just want to throw that in there. I was very happy to have that interaction this morning. But anyway, I can drone on and on and on about this, so I will take my mic off. But I'll
No, don't go, because look, Candice and I and our company, we bought a fractional part of a photograph by a photographer in this place called Justin Avasano. So fractionalization is coming into it. And, people are fractionalizing punks, crypto punks and stuff like that. So, what you're talking about is learnings that we need to start thinking about, even if we don't know what they are. Because, like, say, for example, I don't think it's going to happen with this, but, there's a situation whereby, we could say, we want to fractionalize the token that we've bought from Omar, the song, the unreleased song, and that then we've signed a legal document, so we have to go back to him or everybody, blah blah blah. But then if he sees it as this is a better way to get more fans on board to own something of his, where they don't have 1 ETH, 2 ETH, or whatever it is, which is why, the Tory Lanez thing is kind of interesting at $1, and onboarding people, because that's the biggest challenge we have. So fractionalizing something becomes quite interesting. So when you talk about it, that's why I like that you don't gloss over it, but you just give us a little bit more. And yes, we can go to the 13-page document, but it's nice. So do you think, fractionalization can work with a musical asset? I'm done talking.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking, just when y'all were talking earlier, a really good approach that I was just thinking, just based on the strategy that I love of going into an IP, fractionalizing it from the get. You could potentially just release albums for free, triggered by a certain amount of token sales. You could offer 20-30% ownership in the album, non-governance, not administration. So the artist retains full commercial rights to and rights to use. I'm, I'm very excited about the question you just asked, because y'all could potentially release your music for free, triggered by a certain amount of token sales, retain your entire administration rights, and share literal certified ownership with your fans. And I'll tell you what, if I picked up a certified ownership of 0.00015% or whatever it is of Omar's next album, I'd be happy to. You know, that's diamond hand stuff right there. So, thanks for listening to me.
Thank you. Black
Kamani,
Dave. Sorry, go ahead. Whoever wants to speak.
oh, this is Kayla. So I'm actually really just, that was a great example. That was a great explanation. I'm working on talking to my uncle, who's a lawyer, about just trying to do something similar with another piece of art. I went ahead and I'm going to follow you on all your media, but I'm actually not able to send a message. If you could, and you're interested in talking more about the legalities, I'm also going to be meeting with my uncle, who's a lawyer, and we're working on NFT laws to try to kind of figure it out and maybe even start a group that, you know, can kind of direct people to these questions. So I can't message you, and thank you for that. And Omar, again, this has been a really great group entirely. I'm super excited for you.
Jay, back to you, and Adam, or anybody else that wants to ask a question.
Wow. I mean, there's been some really interesting conversation here surrounding some of the complexities of music and where it can actually go. I think that's probably one of the most exciting and perhaps intimidating things about this space, is there really doesn't seem to be an edge, or at least not one that we found yet. There always seems to be another angle, another perspective, and always out of the blue on a daily basis, somebody is surprising me. This room is no different.
There's a friend that I